Naturally, as we approach the date of December 19th, which marks the closest point to Earth, we will have the most significant chance to utilize the hundreds of telescopes available on Earth, along with the Hubble and Webb space telescopes, to gather our most comprehensive data on this object. So, to reiterate, December 19th, 2025, in just 12 days, 3I Atlas comes into its closest contact with Earth, and the object that many initially dismissed as merely a comet is displaying behavior atypical for comets. An antitail directed towards the Sun, reaching 60,000 kilometers, 5 times the diameter of Earth, while the object moves away from it. As it retreats into the void of cold space, we observe a color shift from red to green to an electric blue, contrary to what we would expect as it fades to gray. Moreover, the ratio of methanol to hydrogen cyanide is recorded at 124.1, presenting chemistry so extraordinary that it has only been encountered once before in the oddest comet ever documented. NASA describes it as natural, while Avi views it as a friendly gardener cultivating life, or a serial killer dispersing toxins. If you're among those who have been following the developments surrounding 3I Atlas and find that something about the official narrative feels off, you are certainly not in isolation. Hit that subscribe button, give a thumbs up, and let's delve into the Hubble images that remain unaddressed, the radio signals that are being downplayed, and the substantial particle debris that arguably should not exist. Because in just 12 days, we will receive our final clear glimpse of this object before it vanishes into eternity. Let's begin with the visual evidence that seems to be getting ignored. On November 30th, 2025, Hubble captured 3I Atlas at a resolution of 0.04 arcsec per pixel, providing the highest detail image we have obtained of this object, revealing an unmistakable antitail extending more than 60,000 kilometers toward the Sun. In standard comet physics, antitails are typically considered optical illusions. When Earth intersects a comet's orbital plane, we observe both sides of its dust trail simultaneously, creating the illusion of matter heading toward the Sun. However, this is merely a trick of perspective. The material is not genuinely moving toward the Sun. It simply appears that way from our vantage point. 3I Atlas, however, remains consistent in showing this sunward extension, evident in the Hubble image taken in July. After perihelion, the direction of the antitail shifted in relation to the motion of the comet. Avi's analysis is direct. This occurrence is not typical in known comets and warrants further explanation. What makes it difficult to disregard is that the antitail consistently points toward the Sun, independent of the object's movement. This contradicts the nature of solar wind, which is a blast of charged particles traveling at 400 kilometers per second and stripping material from the Sun. Comet tails always point away from the Sun. Both dust tails and ion tails adhere to this principle. Material flows with the solar wind, not against it. Yet 3I Atlas is displaying a focused jet, a narrow lance directed headfirst into the solar wind. Amateur astronomer Michael Jagger has produced side-by-side comparisons with typical comets. Comet Lemon, a familiar visitor to our solar system, exhibits two tails, a dust tail and an ion tail, both of which are swept backward by solar pressure. In contrast, 3I Atlas shows not only these two tails, but also an unexplainable sunward projection. Lou's paper anticipated this outcome. Even before the image was captured on November 30th, he predicted that if 3I Atlas released a swarm of macroscopic objects near these objects would have roughly separated from the nucleus by about 60,000 kilometers by late November. The Hubble image substantiates this precisely. It's not a matter of luck. It's predictive modeling. Initially, when 3I Atlas appeared, it was a deep, dark red, indicative of an object that had been affected by cosmic rays for millions of years, typical for interstellar entities. As it moved closer to the Sun, it transitioned to green, as diatomic carbon, cyanogen, molecules vaporized due to solar heating, which is rare but still natural. Now, as it speeds away from the Sun and retreats into the cold void, it glows an electric blue, a detail yet to be adequately addressed. Blue light signifies high energy. We witness it on Earth in phenomena like lightning, in nuclear reactors, and in the hottest flames. In the realm of space, blue typically indicates ionized gases, carbon monoxide, and nitrogen that are burning at extreme temperatures. But here's the issue. 3I Atlas is distancing itself from the heat source. It has passed perihelion, and the Sun's intensity diminishes with each passing moment. Consequently, the object should be cooling down, the outgassing should be diminishing, and its glow ought to be reverting to red or gray. Instead, the blue hue is intensifying, suggesting an internal energy source. One potential explanation is that the Sun has stripped away the ancient red crust, unveiling pristine ice from another stellar system, a fresh surface previously unseen. While that's a possibility, it fails to elucidate why the blue persists as the object cools. Another theory, one that keeps researchers awake at night, posits that the blue is not merely a result of chemistry but indicative of exhaust. If 3I Atlas leveraged the Sun for an orbital maneuver using a gravity assist boost that was enhanced by igniting engines at its closest approach, the blue glow could represent the residual emissions of an active propulsion system as the object accelerates outward. This remains speculative, yet the sequence of colors, transitioning from red to green to blue, suggests systematic behavior, akin to stages of ignition. The Atacama Large Millimeter Submillimeter Array (ELMA) has been investigating the gas cloud enveloping 3I Atlas, revealing shocking results. Massive amounts of methanol CH3OH and hydrogen cyanide HCN were detected. These aren't random molecules. They are prebiotic compounds, fundamental components for amino acids. Adenine, for instance, is a base in DNA and forms the necessary organic chemistry for life. Here's the kicker. The methanol-to-hydrogen cyanide ratio stands at an astonishing 124.1, an extraordinarily high figure. The only other comet displaying a somewhat similar ratio is C2016R2, noted for being among the most chemically peculiar objects ever recorded. However, C2016R2 originated from within our solar system, whereas 3I Atlas has traveled from elsewhere. Avi Lowe raises the question without hesitation. Is this object a bringer of poisons, a serial killer, or a friendly gardener? While hydrogen cyanide is toxic, in cosmic terms, it serves as a foundational kit. Methanol is a key component for life and can be found in star-forming regions, in protoplanetary disks, and in the atmospheres of moons like Titan. On Earth, microorganisms utilize methanol as their primary energy source, and plants naturally produce it from the breakdown of cell walls. If 3I Atlas functions as a panspermia vesicula, natural comet transporting life's building blocks, its chemistry makes sense. However, the specific ratio, the pattern of venting, and the directional jets imply a level of control that is unusual. If one were designing a probe to seed worlds, you'd equip it with prebiotic molecules, shield them in a frozen capsule, and release them upon exposure to solar heat, using directional jets to aim the dispersal. You would also leave behind heavy particles, capable of resisting the solar wind and settling into stable orbits. Precisely what we are observing. On November 10, the Meerkat radio telescope in South Africa detected emissions from 3I Atlas at frequencies of 1665 and 1667 MHz. The internet erupted with speculation it's communicating. It's a beacon. However, the official stance claims that these signals are merely hydroxyl radicals, breaking down under some natural and mundane explanation. But here's the detail they've chosen to downplay. The signal is remarkably steady. Normal radio noise typically fluctuates as the object rotates, and the active vents point cyclically toward and away from Earth, causing variations, yet the hum of 3I Atlas remains constant. If this is a natural outgassing, it implies either a perfectly uniform distribution of venting across its surface, or that the rotation is occurring at such speed that the BH signal averages out uniformly. If it's artificial, a continuous carrier wave would be precisely what you'd expect from a functioning system, whether in standby mode or relaying information. While no one is labeling it alien, the absence of fluctuation in the signal remains unexplained. This brings us to the point that elevates the discussion from mere oddity to outright 3I Atlas is shedding gravel-sized particles, not fine dust. These particles are too large to be displaced by solar radiation pressure. Fine dust can get swept away from the solar system by sunlight in mere weeks. Heavy particles, however, remain behind and settle into orbits, integrating into our solar system. Why is this significant? If you were spreading life across a solar system, you wouldn't utilize a fine mist. You would use heavy seeds capable of lingering long after your departure, seeds that future planets might encounter, and that could endure atmospheric entry to deliver their contents onto a surface. The timing of this shedding is what raises suspicions. 3I Atlas releases this material only after surviving the sun's heat. After passing through it's as if the sun served as a trigger announcing, "I am here, I am warm. Release the cargo." Are these dormant biological containers, geological samples designed to drift until encountered, or are they merely rocks? 3I Atlas follows a hyperbolic trajectory, traveling too swiftly to be captured by the sun. It's merely passing through, yet the manner of its passage is causing concern among orbital dynamicists. The object reveals non-gravitational acceleration, a behavior that comets naturally exhibit through outgassing, which generates thrust. However, that thrust is typically chaotic and often results in a tumbling motion messy by nature. Conversely, the acceleration of 3I Atlas is smooth and consistent. Those jets it possesses, with the anti-tail consistently pointing toward the sun, act as stabilizers, maintaining the object's orientation. Liu suggested months ago that if this were artificial, it could utilize the sun for a gravity assist boost, diving deep and firing engines at closest approach, slingshotting away at maximum velocity. 3I Atlas indeed dove deep. Enduring conditions that could have disintegrated a pile of rubble, but instead, it brightened, changed color, and emerged with a trajectory that deviates slightly from a purely gravitational curve. Is it reorienting its path, or is it simply attempting to escape as quickly as possible? In just 12 days, 3I Atlas will achieve a distance of 1.88 astronomical units from Earth, approximately 269 million kilometers, a great distance, yet within reach of every major telescope, both terrestrial and in space. The James Webb is monitoring it. Hubble is observing. Every radio dish capable of adjustment will target that luminous blue point. What are we searching for? The whole this glowing coma, encompassing gas and dust, acts as a curtain, shrouding the nucleus in a fog thousands of kilometers thick. While we know it is large, estimated to be 5 kilometers wide, we cannot ascertain its precise shape. Is it a jagged rock, or does it have a smooth, cylindrical form? On December 19th, the angle at which we view it will change, as the sun will be shining from the side. We may see through the thinning tail and catch a glimpse of the nucleus's shadow. If the shell fractures or the gas disperses, we will have newfound insight. After this opportunity, the door will close. By March 2026, 3I Atlas will cross Jupiter's orbit, and by the early 2030s, it will fade into the dark, leaving us forever. And here's the frightening truth. It isn't stopping, it isn't slowing down, and it isn't signaling us. It's operating as a scout, wood mapping, sampling, marking, and moving on. If those heavy particles serve as markers, if that ant functions as a relay, and if that blue illumination indicates an active engine, then we may have just been cataloged. The hypothesis of the friendly gardener suggests it delivers life. The serial killer view portrays it as a bringer of poison. The scout hypothesis insinuates it collects data to relay to another. What do you truly believe 3I Atlas really is? A natural comet, a vessel for panspermia, or something we aren't quite prepared to label? Share your theories below, and remember to subscribe to stay updated on the data released on December 19th. Share this, as in 12 days, we either learn the truth or watch as it vanishes into the darkness for good.